top 4 most badass moments in anime history. Number 4. How Revei empowers herself from Black Lagoon. Revei from Black Lagoon is a pirate in just about every sense of the word, and throughout all incarnations of this series, she racks up quite a kill count. No, we're not here to glorify killing, but just the fact that she's good at it and why is what makes her a badass. We learn that she was abused as a child in every way possible, and anyone watching can reasonably understand why Revei turned out the way she did. But the fact that she uses her tragic past to empower herself as a charismatic leader and pro-mercenary is what makes her a badass. She can be petty when she kills people, but when you see things from her point of view, nobody can blame her. She may be digging her own grave, but thanks to recruiting, aka kidnapping, Rock, an average businessman from Japan, she does find herself mellowing out a bit despite her outward appearance. Ultimately, she's a badass because how she represents child victims and how that experience can be directed to a unique outlet to empower themselves. Number 3. Takumi defeating Shinji from Initial D, Final Stage. Street racing may be illegal, but hey, so is jaywalking. In the world of Initial D, the cast finds creative ways to make sure all conditions are safe before they start a race too. But when it comes to starting their engines and hitting the gas, Takumi, the main character, finds unorthodox and yet creative ways to win a race despite his Toyota A86 Trueno not being as powerful as the cars of his opponents. Sometimes, horsepower doesn't determine the winner but unique ingenuity. In Final Stage, Takumi faces against Shinji, a fellow AE86 Trueno driver, and that is put to the test greater than ever. As they approach the finish line neck and neck, Takumi's engine blows out. In this moment, we get to see Takumi at his most badass, and Takumi has a lot of badass moments, as he finds a way to improvise the situation and still win. As he was losing control of his car upon it blowing out, he immediately finds a way to instinctively keep his momentum by repositioning the car in reverse. Since it was a downhill race, physics would work in his favor, and as he was heading down the last few meters in reverse, and he manages to win the race. While Ryosuke, his team leader, always finds a way to articulate the science behind this victory, Takumi's way of explaining it was simply that he wanted to win no matter what. So, Takumi's moment of badass in this situation goes back to the old saying of where there's a will, there's a way. Number 2, All Might using the last of his strength to defeat All for One from Boku no Hero Academia 3rd Season, My Hero Academia 3. Throughout a majority of My Hero Academia's run, All Might, the number 1 hero of the series, was running on the last of his juice no thanks to his body being able to maintain his powers. We all knew he was going to lose them at some point, the question was when, and that was when he had to face All for One, his arch-nemesis, one last time. As a matter of fact, it was All for One that caused the injury to limit the use of All Might's powers as he aged, and considering their history, there was no doubt that this fight was going to take a toll on him. Even when it was publicly revealed that he would turn into a frail man after using his powers for a considerable time, All Might chose to not give up. All Might embodies everything it means to be a hero. He stays positive in the face of trouble, and he genuinely cares about helping people. But even when his juice ran out, he found a way to stop All for One by summoning all his strength into his last smash and put him in custody. The fact that he continues to fight with his powers now diminishing and coming out victorious demonstrates not only how badass All Might is, but that he's a true hero. Number 1, Joe choosing to fight Gearless from Megalobox. In the world of Megalobox, corporations run things, and without government oversight, sports such as boxing, which tend to be under the sanctioning of state-run athletic commissions, are now done away with along with the rules that are regulated. In place of the Marquis of Queensberry rules, boxing now has unlimited 3-minute rounds until the last man stands. There are no weight classes, age limits, drug testing, and all you need to be is a citizen of the city. Plus, to give it some flair, combatants wear augmented gear on their upper body for enhanced performance. Some are state-of-the-art, and some are about as useful as a rotary dial on an iPhone. When it comes to Joe, the main character, he decides to compete without the use of such gear. The reason why it's such a badass move is because it further emphasizes how much of an underdog he is. He's a talented boxer who was previously regulated to throwing fights, even when he was wearing gear, just so he could help pay off his trainer's debts. However, after failing to get the proper gear, he decides to compete without it. It's not just being badass, but it's a symbol of who he is and where he comes from. He comes from nothing, and he has to work hard to prove his worth not just to the people around him, but to himself. The fact that he decides to take the hardest road to the top when he doesn't have to shows that's what being a true badass is all about.